Hey, what's going on? It's JB Webb, and man, it was a huge week this week. We did 4 great interviews, and this interview is with Andrew Spear. He's a well-known Orlando artist. He's a highly talented guy, which I hope you'll enjoy the interview, get to know his art through our conversation. And, we're closing out our series, the JB Webb Show. So if you want to talk with us about your art, we're aggressively looking to set up and conduct these interviews with you. You can do that through wjbwnetworks.com. Other than that, thanks for chilling with us. And of course, we're never jonesing. We always got more talent to bring you. So cheers, please enjoy. WJBW, Orlando, Florida. The first quasi-radio web show.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, my friends? It's JB Webb. I hope you're doing well. I am doing great because I met someone that I have admired for quite a while. He's an artist. He's a talented individual. You more than likely have seen his work if you drive in and around Orlando, Mills 50, almost anywhere now. He's really become quite prolific. He is the one and only Andrew Spear, and we're sitting out back at the Hideaway off of Virginia, where he has a mural of some of his art. And he's graced us with some of his time so we can chat with him. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Andrew Spear.
Nice
How you doing, bro?
I'm wonderful. Nice to meet you too. JB Webb in the house.
Yes. You set us up real cool back here in the back of the Hideaway, so I appreciate that. You pulled some strings. We got a cool little table in front of your mural out here, so I appreciate that.
No problem. You only made it as comfortable as we could make it, so.
Yeah, no,
kudos.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Let's talk a little bit about your art, because that's the big thing to me. When somebody has so much passion and their work is so prolific, it really speaks to their work ethic, their passion at the core. So I'm interested, if you wheel it way back, we were talking a little bit just a minute ago about some of it, growing up north a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm super interested to hear about your origins. How long have you been doing art? When did you first get into it? And then springboard maybe into the way now you're a working artist that's alive, that's making money.
Well,
how'd you do that?
First the dinosaurs came, and then the earth cooled. No, it's I'm from South Boston, Weymouth, Massachusetts, and I've been living down here in Florida now for about 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's kind of like anything. I've been doing it my whole life, so it's only a question of, I think we were saying that earlier, like, how long have you been doing it, the art thing? And you know, I think any artist that's been actually doing it professionally will tell you that they've been doing it their whole life, but I'd say probably within the last 6 years it's been turning it on my own.
Were you as a kid doing art, or when did it start for you?
I was a freak. I was the kid that sat off to the side that didn't eat in the cafeteria because I ate in the art room.
They'll be auctioning off your sketchbooks from 5th period math or some shit?
I hope so. They went worth from nothing, now they're worth 50 cents.
Okay.
That's amazing. So you get some milk.
It was worth a lot to you though to get that out. So it started at a relatively young age. You started sketching, doodling, stuff like that.
Well, my family is kind of art oriented.
Cool.
Meaning like my brother's a bass player, my father was a painter, so the art thing was always kind of dominant and not very sports savvy.
Kind of an art house.
Music and art was kind of where we came from, and which was extremely beneficial because I learned at an early age, I had the belief from my parents and my friends to do what I wanted to do, which is, I think, probably the most important thing that anyone can have with any kind of artistic career, whether it be like DJing or being a radio talk show host or anything like that.
You got to really put your kind of heart into it.
Yeah, you got to work a lot.
Well, that's like we spoke with someone said, the more you play, the more you play.
Right.
So the more art you make, the more art you make, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Your work is everywhere. I mean, it's amazing. You have your own unique style. It's beautiful in its chaos yet order, I'll say. But
go on.
Okay, I'll go on.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome, man. So what again I'm interested in is maybe let's talk a little bit about how you've been a working artist and how'd you kind of pull that off and make that successful.
Well,
that started 6-7 years ago. You've been in Orlando how long?
I've been down here for about 13 years.
Okay.
And I think when I started, actually when I was living in New York City, I was doing set design. And I came down here to visit some friends and landed a job at Universal doing scenic. Did that for a couple years. Started a interior design scenic business and
cool.
started doing, Disney and Universal, and then doing my own artwork on the side. And then, had a little bit of money that I could focus more on my own stuff. And then that kind of got bigger, and I started to hate scenic.
Okay.
I hated it more and kind of
You're like, this is monotonous,
Yeah,
I'm not freedom.
yeah, just kind of making the decision of, when you jump off into anything on your own artistically, to make the decision whether or not you're going to sink or you're going to swim. And
Right.
I made that decision probably about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm still floating, but I'm floating better than I was floating before.
Well, you're doing great. I mean, as
Thank
far
you.
as Orlando goes, you drive up and down Mills 50. There's so many spaces in Orlando that your art is publicly visible, and there's been a big hullabaloo, about people who own buildings and what you can paint on buildings, but there's been a huge drive with you as kind of the darling, we'll say, behind let's get all this art up everywhere.
Yeah.
So your work is unique. As I mentioned, you have your own unique style. So maybe talk to a little bit about kind of how you got involved with that whole Mills 50 piece and the whole restoration and putting these murals all around Orlando.
Well, I think that the opportunity was there. I think a lot of people, the biggest problem with artists is that the answer's always no.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to search for the answers to make it a yes. And I
Right.
kind of just asked people, like, what if we did this?
Yeah.
It wasn't really that hard. And I just, people just don't ask the question. They'd rather complain about it. I'd
that's
like
a
to
good
get to the
point.
core of it and solve it and find out. And unfortunately, at this point, I might be a little oversaturated. But, it's like if you're a chef and you made me a sandwich,
Yeah.
is that the only sandwich you're going to make? You're going to make a
Right.
bunch of different
You just
sandwiches.
got one.
I want
Yeah,
everyone
there's a
else
bunch
to
of
get involved into it as well. But, if you're not going to do it, then I'll do it. So
Right.
that's the way I look at it.
Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. So it's just ask and you will receive kind of a thing. Plus I think you had a very unique skill and style. Let's talk a little bit about your style. Is there any way to term it? Is there any way to talk about it to say, besides that looks like an Andrew Spear?
Well,
is there a specific artistic term for the method, for the look of what you do?
I think the time that it came was probably like 2008.
Okay.
And there was there's a company out of New York called Crink, and they have these paint markers that are just paint pens.
Okay.
If I was doing linear stuff like the line work with a paintbrush, I'd go insane. But with those pens came out, I said, oh, I could do these giant illustrations on walls. I'm not like a graffiti artist. I'm not a street kid. I don't have a tag name. I don't have any of that stuff. I like that music, but that's about as far as it goes.
No, I got you.
Yeah, I can't break dance. I'm super white, that whole thing. But I got the opportunity, and then, I just kind of was taking the illustration stuff and trying to do it on a bigger scale. And so that's how that whole thing kind of came up. It was kind of by accident. And now that it's kind of synonymous with this area, more people recognize it, more people want it. If I had to classify what it is, I'd say it's just like a liquid cubism.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. So I mean, all these specific,
It's all cubism.
designs, and then the erratic patterns
Yeah.
with consistent patterns. It's interesting, and then through that, you're able to create beautiful, striking images. We're here at the Hideaway, which again, you got a great little setup out here.
We are representing
and
in
we're outside.
the Ivan Hood
Ivan
section
Hood.
of Orlando.
Yeah. And as far as we know, didn't you coin that term?
I did.
I think you did.
At this bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of
So
fact.
Ivan Hood is where we're at.
Hashtag Ivan Hood. You can see for
Hashtag.
yourself.
Yeah, and spearlife.com is this gentleman's website. I say go to it. Listen, here's what I got. Big question. Are you open to collaboration with other artists? What other kind of things are
Absolutely.
you open to? What kind of things are you doing? Because, I mean, I don't think this is the top for you necessarily, because you're really hitting a point where you get a lot of great exposure here. These murals and things you've done will be up for years, God willing.
Right.
And
Don't tag anything,
so-
please.
no tags, unless it's Ivan Hood. No.
Yeah. Unless it's a hashtag, then it's fine.
So I guess my big question is, kind of, what kind of collaborations are
there's-
you open to?
there's-
Art and music, art, and where do you want to take what you're doing?
Well,
now
yeah, there's
to
a
the next piece?
there's a artist here in town named Dollar Bill, and him and I did my first collaboration at the Surf Expo probably 3 years ago.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was cool because we, our styles kind of came together and we worked together, and it was like very fulfilling because I always admired him as an artist.
Yeah.
And was kind of put myself out to him, was like, hey, can we do this together? And we did, and it was great. I think the problem with a lot of artists is that they're kind of stuck on that, like, it's mine, this is my wall, I'm doing that.
Okay, right.
I don't see it that way, but at this point in my life, I'm just because you bought a guitar doesn't mean we're gonna make music because you just bought one. You mean I gotta see what
Right.
you're doing and where you're going. And there was a lot of talented people in Orlando. Swanberger as well from Soliloquist Sound. Him and I, we've done some stuff, and we're talking about doing some stuff in the future. Chris Tobar.
He's got a good art background himself.
Yeah,
besides being super talented musically.
Yeah, he's all over the place. He's like a good version of like an art octopus of someone that kind of covers all the bases.
That's funny. Yeah, no. Okay, so you're definitely open to collaboration and things like that. I didn't know if you had a specific, hey, I want to do this, or if you could do anything you wanted to do, and maybe it's in the capsule of this moment of just saying, where would you want to paint a big mural? What's the biggest piece you can see yourself kind of doing? How big do you want to take your art, I guess?
I think right now the biggest, it's all, the more you put yourself out there, the bigger the opportunities, as long as you come through professionally and do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, recently I just did a gig up in Austin, Texas, and I'm going back out there. I'm going to LA next month. I'm going to Spain in May to do the new Hard Rock Casino in Ibiza.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's like,
oh, is that going to be
crazy.
Like Portugal tile work or something?
No,
crazy like that?
I'm actually doing the history of dance, the history of music in Ibiza from 1960 to 2015. All
You're doing like a big long mural of all the different characters and people there?
It's a pictorial story. It's crazy. That's like the biggest thing I'm working on right now, and like the fact that I even had that opportunity is it's crazy. But the reason, and here's what people need to know, because people want to know how I got the gig.
Right.
Hard Rock is based out of Orlando. Their headquarters is based here. So I went there and said, hello, do you have anything?
Asking.
Just finding out.
Wow.
You can't be lazy. A lot of artists kind of, ego will kill you.
Yeah.
And
well, you got to try for sure, and you got to voice what you want to do.
Yeah, you got to do that, but you also have to realize that it doesn't matter how talented you are. No one gets anywhere alone.
Yeah.
And with artists, like, people kind of think, well, you can be a one-man band, but you're not.
Yeah,
you're always working and answering to somebody, and you kind of have to take that into perspective with, if your artwork is feasible with what the client wants you to put out, But, if you work on it, eventually your phone will ring, which is the greatest thing ever. Once you get it ringing, you want it to ring all the time. You want to keep pushing that.
Do you have any interest, because your style is very unique, and a lot, take this as a grain of salt or compliment or whatever, but I could really see you being the main illustrator behind a lot of different graphic novels, storylines. Take something as classic as like Aeon Flux.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Liquid Television back in the day.
Liquid Television, yeah.
We're talking about being Generation
we're Gen
X.
X.
Yeah,
Gen
so
X.
if you guys don't know,
give it up, Gen X.
Google it, yeah.
Forget your new. All right, so let's talk about that a little bit. Could you see yourself doing that kind of work, that kind of illustrator type of work? That's much more, not necessarily out and about, but more in and micro and directed.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I like I said, I think it's anything that you can. It's more like you can already see what the style looks like, and now it's like, can we put this to that? Can we put this to a story? Can we put it to a book cover? Can we put it to an animation? Can we put it to a mural? Can we, like, anything like that that's feasible, that's worth working on, that's something that you kind of consider that something you want to be part of. Yeah. Then if you say no, then you're just, why would you do that?
Well, I would think your style, because again, it's so unique and you really get a lot of depth in a character, so it makes it unique in that sense, in that you're looking at a person like this. Like, you do a lot of different stuff. You post on Facebook, and I'm going to be showing a lot of this through the video portion of this broadcast. Your actual artwork, but you do a lot of great, beautiful stuff with people's faces, caricatures, maybe emotions and stuff that's not there, or something that's behind their actual expression and stuff. And that's what I really love about your art, is that there's a lot of depth to the characters, especially the people and things like that. So I could really see you doing amazing work in graphic novels and things of this nature. So that's why I was a little curious.
Yeah, well, there was actually a friend of mine that said this to me a couple days ago. They said, because I'm like, I'm doing the same stereotypical thing, I'm drawing people. And they were like, yeah, but you draw, what I was told, I'm not saying, this isn't me, so don't quote me on that, but they said that I draw beauty, and I said, yeah, I guess so. I definitely know that I try to keep it as positive as possible. I think one of the other things that people may not be aware of is that I'm ambidextrous. So when I draw stuff out, I usually draw it out with my left hand, so it's kind of distorted and funky.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then go back with the right with the tight line work, so that kind of has the breathing element of
that
it.
Makes a lot of sense now. Okay, so that's an awesome thing to know, because that you can see that duplicity, if you will, in a lot of your work. So that's cool to hear.
If you want it to look like a photograph, take a photo of it. It's like, why you got to put your voice on it. It's like like another thing is like you could write the word the, and I could write the word the, and they mean the same thing, but it's all in the line work of how you would write it. You know what I'm saying? So your voice is still, either way, it's still there. It's kind of like when you talk about style. Style isn't something that you can just work on over a summer. You can't. You have, like, style happens and you evolve, and things kind of, after you get serious with it and you kind of have your method, then it kind of takes its own legs. And I might lose mine right now because there's a truck.
Yeah, we're sitting in the back of the Hideaway, and we'll plug them again because it's a great little local bar here off of Virginia, and somebody's backing up. It's okay, bud. Just don't hit anybody else.
Hideaway bar on Virginia in the Ivan Hood.
It's a cool little place. Awesome drinks here. Cash bar only, I'll say. So come prepared. They got a pool table, great music, great little inside, outside, plus the artwork of Andrew Spear, who's been our guest here today on this week's episode of the JB Webb Show. Man, you've got a very prolific art history. You got a very prolific website, spearlife.com.
Hey.
Related to Britney Spears? There's my silly question.
Well, if I was related to Britney Spears, I would have an S at the end of my name.
I see.
So let's make sure
you hate that, don't you? I know you hate that.
Well, everyone gets it wrong. And I always said if I was
now.
related to her, I wouldn't work. I'd be on a boat somewhere.
Let me go a little Jiminy Glick on you.
Or I'd be on her album cover, just putting it out there, Britney. Call me.
Are you? Okay. Well, you're a badass guy. You're definitely a talented artist. I'm super happy you call Orlando your home. I'm super happy I can go down to a local joint and do this interview with you.
Sure.
I really appreciate it. If you're interested, you want to collaborate, you want to look at what this gentleman can do, spearlife.com is the best way. He's all over Facebook. He's all over physical 3D spaces as well if you drive around Orlando, Florida. I'm JB Webb. We've been speaking with the one and only Andrew Spear. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Awesome.
And,
thanks, bro. I
thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for coming down.
Hey, thank you, bro.
But like, I know you can't see this.
Hey, we got the train too.
We have the
5
train.
o'clock.
Well, my train is here, so we gotta sum this up really quickly. But I just want to say it's awesome that we're actually sitting outside on this beautiful February afternoon. Having
in
some
Orlando, Florida.
Some cocktails.
Cocktails.
And this is why I love it in Orlando. We couldn't pull this off any more quiet, other than the train. But we'll get the schedule next time.
No, it was perfect. Well, I'd love to collaborate with you in the future. Maybe you'll do a mural for me, and we'll see how that all pans out.
I think you're playing your cards right.
Yeah,
I think you're already
doing
there
good so far. Well, good deal. All right. Well, I'm JB Webb speaking with Andrew Spear outside of the Hideaway Bar off of Virginia. We got plenty more as always. So take care.